Welcome to the Sex, Money, and Real Estate Podcast, the show for real estate couples about how to close more deals in the bedroom. My name is Bill Jameson.
And I'm Nancy Jameson.
And each week we deep dive into juicy, intentional, sexy conversations, sharing with you what it takes to create balance in your intimate relationships and your real estate business. Thank you so much for being here. Shall we begin? Hey, baby.
Hey, baby.
What's happening, hot stuff?
You are?
Why is that?
Well, I'm noticing that that shirt is really bringing out the green in your eyes. Your eyes are actually green right now, which is lovely. They're normally such that the ocean blue that's just gorgeous too. But
I'm a chameleon.
they're green right now.
Cool.
Yes,
Thank you. I
you're
appreciate
welcome.
that.
Mm-hmm. How are you being today?
I am fantastic. Thank
Okay,
you. Yeah,
cool.
feeling great. Feeling great. Had an inspection this morning and before the inspection, I actually got to do a little play, had a workout this morning as well. And so there's definitely a little bit of balance there, a little yin to the yang, if you will.
Okay.
So yeah, I had a great workout, some running and some great conversation, a little bit of a consciousness workout as well. And then got physical with it as well. So it was awesome. It was
Cool.
awesome. How are you being today?
Very cool. I'm also fantastic. I had a beautiful morning with the boys, and then got right into it with work and clients, and I just mailed out our homestead exemption letters for all of our
Nice.
past clients. Yeah, that was great. And yeah, I mean, now it's time to record. So I just enjoy the balance of all of that. I think you and I are going to head out for a little date later on, a little impromptu date. So yeah, fantastic.
Hubba. Cool. Well, why don't you share this little quick note before we get started?
Oh, yes. Thank you for that reminder. I appreciate it. So yeah, just a real quick show note, guys. We're asking that you subscribe to the podcast. If you're inspired, leave a 5-star review and definitely share it with one realtor that you know. I mean, obviously a lot of us know realtors, but really we're told the myth and that the balance is not attainable. And so we're definitely living proof that the balance is attainable. So please just share it with one realtor that you know needs to hear this message. And of course, if you have any questions or you want to connect with us, DM us on Instagram at sex.money.realestate or email us at connect@jamesonandcompany.com. And that's all spelled out, jamesonandcompany.com. Awesome.
Cool.
So back to your regularly scheduled episode.
All right. Well, as we have been doing, and we like to convey, is that we start every episode off with a bit of magic. How we define magic as our ability to influence ourselves, influence others, or life in an empowering way. So I know we have. I mean, there's always so much magic, and the great thing about magic is that once you start to recognize it and see it, you get to see everything that you're creating in your life. It's a habit like anything else. And so when I was thinking about today's show topic, the magic that came to me was around the boys.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And when we talked about it, so you can share your perspective, baby.
Cool. Thank you. So the new school, they're in a new school this year, and the transfer to the new school, it definitely supports their gifts and talents individually and uniquely. And we just realized that the increase of the teacher team that they now have, they have a much higher level of accountability, which is really beautiful. Everything is measured as they go. So it's not like this, at the end of the semester, you have an understanding of where you are and you can't do anything about it. No, they're measured every day. And one of the ways that they're measured every day is that they receive constant feedback from their teacher team, and they email the kids directly. And then obviously we get copied on that.
Yeah,
so the sheer volume of positive and impactful feedback that they're receiving, I mean, it's really It's really lovely.
It
and,
is. It's beautiful. It's definitely a different experience, and they've had a great educational experience thus so far. And this
mhm.
one's just offering context, some different context for us. And but what I really really enjoy about this and the feedback that we're getting and the feedback that they're getting, right? It just feels so proactive,
Mhm.
right?
Very much so.
Instead of waiting to the end of the week or the end of the month or the end of the semester,
Mhm.
that's like this real time thing from all these genius teachers to these
Yeah.
genius kids, so that ultimately because they're giving each other this feedback daily is they're leveling up their game.
Mhm.
And it's
Absolutely.
just amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm inspired by the school. I'm inspired by how our boys are showing up.
Mhm.
And total side note, I'm so inspired that they're in the same school
Yes.
together at the same time now. It's like I got half my life back.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
All that
So,
time in the car.
totally.
Yes, the sustainable environment they are in for sure. Yeah,
Yes.
it's
And
great.
isn't that something to do with our episode today?
Yes, I'm fairly certain it does.
Okay. Awesome. Well, let's talk about before we talk about what is or what could be or sustainable. Let's talk about a little bit about like what has not been sustainable for us,
Mhm.
what didn't work.
Okay, so it's story time.
Oh yeah, let's tell a story. That's a great idea.
All right, so let's see. So let me set this up. Bill was in real estate since 2001, and I decided to get into real estate in 2010. And the boys were just barely 4 and 3. We still had one car,
Ooh,
and so we were both in real estate.
and it smelled like oil.
Yeah, it smelled like oil. It served us well, and it smelled
did.
like oil. So to put clients in the car, it was one of those things where you're just like, oh my gosh, you can, we kept that car like spick and span, especially for the toddlers that we had, and it still smelled like oil. So there was a little bit of that that judgment going
A
on,
little wobbly driving down the street.
and yet so we're both in real estate.
Right.
And yet we had separate businesses. You had buyers and sellers. I had buyers and sellers. You
Right.
had investors.
Right.
I had investors. And so the juggle associated with doing the schedule, no, I have buyers. No, I have buyers. So one car, I mean, obviously there's an argument and a breakdown waiting to happen there. Mine are more important than yours. No, mine are. So that was interesting. And then working over each other. I remember working in that teeny tiny office because we got kicked out of our big office, and then they gave us a new office.
That's right. I forgot about that.
And then we were in that little teeny tiny office, and we were both doing the same thing. Like I remember we were working either on a listing packet or a buyer presentation or something like that, and we were both doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we weren't tracking
Nothing
our
was
business.
being tracked.
We weren't tracking our leads. We weren't tracking the money that we were spending on the business. Like none of it. We had no systems. Oh my gosh, it was fascinating. So we definitely tried to figure out some different ways to make it work, and we thought it was going to work, and we just ended up bumping our heads together and arguing a lot.
Yeah. The pillow talk was definitely non-existent. I mean, we were working a lot, right?
Mhm.
And working on the same but different things. If you were working on sellers, I was working on something else to do with the seller. And it was like we were just we're stepping on each other's feet.
Yeah, doing the same work.
And running our own businesses essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And not working as a team.
No, not at all. And then there was the whole thing with the boys too. Like I distinctly remember like literally high-fiving, like, okay, cool, it's my turn for the car. And like, we'd high five, toss the keys, and then I'd go out the door, and then, you'd be on daddy duty. And regardless of whatever you had to do, because they were small.
Right.
Or I remember, like I remember when they were, oh my gosh, they were in the back room, and it was like, I would just remember being so frustrated that I couldn't do what I needed to do for the boys because I had to go out and take care of the client. And so it was both. It was like, we were just stepping all over each other in multiple areas.
It was like a ping pong game that that nobody was winning. There was no win-win in it at all.
Yeah. No, it wasn't.
and not sustainable. At the end of the day, it just wasn't sustainable is really what we're getting at. There's just no systems, no teams, no, just there were a lot of no's in our lives. No stops the flow, baby.
Right. Yeah. And we had no coaches at that time.
No.
And I do remember going to our broker at that moment in time, asking for assistance or guidance.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, no, you're on your own. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then that was actually the little impetus, the seed that was planted that I was like, it's time to
make a move.
It's time to make a switch into a more empowering environment.
Yep. Absolutely.
So we decided when we were shopping and interviewing, and we literally interviewed every broker in Atlanta brokerage, and environment was number one on the list in where we went.
Yeah.
Because we knew that if the environment was rich in culture, rich in systems, tools, resources, all the things,
and the people, and the people were not toxic, or the people were empowering as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously a well-run office that produced.
Yeah.
Being in the environment of producers
and learning based. We'd be at that point we were becoming so learning based, and we knew we wanted to be in a learning based environment as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So that was that. So that was our path into, really having a very authentic conversation around what it looked like to be sustainable. And then I had just come out of working. Well, both of us had just come out of work in hospitality, 60, 70, 80, 90. Oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing. 90 hours a week. Mm-hmm. And we had already had the discussion where we did not want to recreate that. I mean, that was just crazy. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
So that took us to, I don't even really know where I know what the wake up was, because we changed brokerages, and we realized through having a coach that, for us to stay in our lanes and do what was, what fed our talents, right?
Yeah. So 2010 and 2012, we literally bumped heads for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And then we made the switch in 2012.
And the switch was that you, Nancy, take the listings.
Yeah, the listings.
And work with sellers, and that I work with buyers.
Yeah.
And, and it made sense. You are great with working that side of the business. I mean, from the marketing piece and the organizational piece to leverage the sellers, and buyers were always a natural for me. I always had more buyers than sellers anyway in my business, just by who I am and what I do. So
yeah, it was great. So we focused on our strengths. Yes. And did that division of function. And then we I remember having that yellow legal pad, and we literally sat down for a day and listed all of the other things and decided who was going to do what, and split our division of function. I mean, this is before we had assistants and VAs and buyer's agents and all that stuff, but it was literally a yellow legal pad. And it's like, no, I'll take this, I'll take this, I'll take this, you take this, you take this, you take this, I'll take this.
Yeah.
And it was,
what happened? We tripled. We tripled as soon. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. You can't make this shit up. We literally, when we did that division of function, start hanging out with the coach, our business tripled. Tripled.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's,
in 1 year.
In 1 year.
Yeah.
And the bonus is that, so many bonuses, but, we're working less. Mm-hmm. We're talking more. Mm-hmm. The level of our pillow talk has gone up tremendously.
Yeah, well, it was a different kind of pillow talk.
Exactly. Well, yeah.
You're like, no kidding, lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny. Mm-hmm. So sustainability. Mm-hmm. So we were creating different methods and different methods that led to higher levels of sustainability in our business. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We were following the models. We were and are following the models. And the division of function, and then at that point we started, embracing, great word, some things in our personal life to help create the sustainability as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we had our business coach, in which we were accountable to, and then we really opened up to the idea of coaches in other areas of our life.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe the first coach that we had after the business coach was literally a personal trainer. So we each had a personal trainer, and they were different. So I was coached by one, and Bill had a different personal trainer, and we each dedicated one. I think it was one session a week at that point.
Yep.
And so we each had a different day, and when Bill went and trained, we call it play. When Bill went and played, then I obviously took care of the boys in the house and the business. I mean, we're talking about an hour and a half, and yet it was still a very impactful process that we still to this day incorporate every week. I mean, our personal trainers have changed, obviously, but we still train a minimum of once a week with a personal trainer, a different personal trainer.
And then we have another trainer. I mean, we do yoga once a week too. So
yes,
we have, really, you look at that, we have another coach there, which, I mean, I'd never be able to do the things that I do, if it wasn't for
Cheryl.
Cheryl.
Yeah.
Totally
She's amazing. Yep. Absolutely. So, and then we have a wealth coach. So very specific conversations around wealth building, finances, budget, all things IRAs, and what do we do with this money, and what do we do with this money, and how do we direct this, and where do we invest with this, and the conversations around what the kids are investing in. So the kids have accounts, and they're buying stocks, and it's like, well, I want to buy Lego stock, and I want to buy Nike, and I want to buy SpaceX, and I want to buy, so that's really cool. So that's opened up a whole new conversation. But just the ability, I mean, when we first got started, we didn't necessarily have money to invest. Like our original conversations with her were around budget and what it was like to be on an irregular budget as opposed to a regular budget. And so it was budgeting, and there was accountability around budgeting. And are you building your emergency fund? And how, first your emergency fund is $500, and then your emergency fund is $1,000. And now your emergency fund is $2,000 cash, and so, it was those types of conversations. I mean, obviously Dave Ramsey says baby steps, and it's truly baby steps. Yet now we're having wealth conversations around, really like really cool investment strategies that are very exciting and engaging. And again, bring the boys into the fold, and the boys are part of directing where their money goes, and all kinds of stuff. So it's built up over, oh my gosh, it's almost a decade.
Yeah,
now.
and it's taken time. This has been it's truly, they say, how do you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time. What we like to say around in our community a lot is, go slow and get there fast. Excuse me.
Yes.
And, it has been one bite at a time. It really, really has. And if it weren't for the help of all of our coaches, I don't know, for me personally, having the patience to begin with the end in mind and to see it all the way through, I couldn't have done it without help. There's no doubt
it definitely
about it.
takes a team.
Because, I don't know. I've always been one of those people where, it was always hard for me for a long time to see what, to imagine what it would be like 2 or 3 or 4 years down the line. It was very, very transactional, day to day. Commission check. I was in the restaurant business. It was literally shift to shift. There was no big picture for me. So having coaches in all these areas of our lives, it's really helped me paint the picture of what it would look like, because I'm following their example too, right? I mean, we look at, some of the leaders in our lives and what they've done. And I know that it hasn't happened overnight. And we've had enough conversations where I have enough faith and trust in them to lead me and let them paint the picture of what it could look like for me, hold open the possibility, and, again, take it one step at a time.
Yeah, I love that. And, I mean, we all know what team means, right? Together.
Oh. What does team mean, Nancy?
Together, everyone achieves more.
Oh, yeah. There's no I. I was just going to, there's no I in team. But
oh, okay.
I'm so old school. Yes, together, everyone achieves more.
Oh, you're so funny. You're so funny.
Cute, too.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So what do you want to say? What else do you want to say about team?
Oh my gosh.
Or maybe, what other areas in life can you have a coach?
Well, so financial coach, health, obviously health and lifestyle coach. So whether that your trainer incorporates lifestyle, your nutrition, your other habits around, we did mention yoga, but your energizing habits or your cleansing habits or your breathing habits. I mean, for a minute there, while I was increasing my relationship to running, I had a running coach. So
Right,
it
right,
was
right.
they come in and out of our lives. So what else? You can have an emotional coach to where
I mean, it could be a therapist or
mhm.
or something like that, or
Yep, absolutely.
counselor.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, a group at church could definitely be an emotional support for you or a social aspect of
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
That's really beautiful. So,
And then, the thing is to remember is, as you are enlisting and trusting other people in your life, doesn't mean that you're necessarily paying for all these people. I
mm-hmm,
mean, you can call them a coach, you can call them a mentor.
mm-hmm,
Um, something that comes to mind also is environment around this. I'm going to put a pin in that. So with the coaches, you can absolutely work with somebody who's doing what you want to do at a higher level and have that conversation with them. Are you willing to meet with me once a week or every other week or whatever? And
mm-hmm,
any coach you have in your life, I'm going to suggest that you have, if you can, get that conversation for even 15 or 20 minutes or half an hour every week, the rate in which you expand will be greater.
mm-hmm.
Because as a great friend has said that anytime that you do things on a bye week, you treat it literally as a bye week, where
Oh, you're on a buy.
yeah, you're skipping, right? You're on a bye, right? You're on a
That's
buy.
amazing. Oh, I like that one.
And not necessarily giving it the focus that
Yeah.
it needs for you to really expand and level up.
Oh, wow. Very
So
cool.
yeah, and what was I putting a pin in? Do you remember?
Environment.
Oh yeah, and then the environment. Just there's that adage where you are the seven people that you hang out with. So if you're hanging out with millionaires, at some point you're going to level up on your money. Or if you're
Mm-hmm.
hanging out with somebody that is more spiritually connected, or you feel they're more spiritually connected or can help you develop, then hang out with people like that so that you can get in tune with yourself and others.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Who I listen to will determine who I become.
Oh, that was a
Uh-huh. It's
that
a
was
quote that one of the trainers at the gym that
Anthony, right?
Anthony that we belong to has up on his
How
on
many
his
times is that?
wall.
How many times is that repeated on his wall?
Who I listen to will determine who I become. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times in a different style of handwriting.
Yeah,
So,
see, that's beautiful.
yes, environment.
So,
Environment.
and then we even have a podcast coach.
Yes, we do. Oh my goodness, yes, we do. We'll
Yeah,
put Matthew's little link in the
in the show notes, and we'll
show
put
notes too.
Anthony's link.
note, yeah.
Yep, in there
And
too.
then while we're at it, we probably yes, it would be very empowering for us to put the Your Day Balance Chart app
Yes.
into the show notes as well, because that has been transformational for as far as the accountability piece goes for measuring our health and our lifestyle for sure. I mean, the
Yeah,
team over
and
there.
again, creating that sustainability.
Yes.
Because it's those daily and weekly habits that translate into leveling up throughout the year
Results.
in results.
Yeah,
Yeah.
measurable results. Absolutely, because you're able to see your blind spots, or they are able to see my blind spots. I'll make it an I statement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gosh.
So, and
Yeah.
and it's very important with any coach is to make the system measurable, whatever that accountability is, make it measurable. So if you're meeting with a business coach or a real estate coach, you all know you're tracking, if you're prospecting, you're tracking how many dials you're making and how many people you're talking to and how many people,
appointments.
yeah, and how many appointments,
How many contracts,
yes,
under contracts,
and
closings. Yes.
so why wouldn't you track how fast you run a mile if you're putting deposits into yourself? Or why wouldn't you track how many times you're meditating a week, or all of that, and set goals all around that so that you're held accountable to it and it's measurable.
It's the sustainability of that. So there's the person, there's the production tracking and then the personal tracking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just like when you check your credit score. It's a credit score associated with buying a house. Well, what's your credit score? What's your credibility with yourself? And so that's how we have emotionally attached to our balance chart, is because it's our personal credibility. And so when we see that we've achieved 80+% on our balance chart, our commitments to ourselves, then we can say, wow, I trust myself because my personal credibility is up. It's sustaining me. It's creating inspiration. It's creating momentum. It's creating motivation to now take that fuel and go power our business.
Yes.
So it is absolutely beautiful. So we'll put the balance chart. It's the Your Day Balance Game. It's on Android right now, and then you can do the iOS on the web.
Yep.
We're working on the iOS platform, but nevertheless.
Awesome. So, and all of this goes into our coaching and what we do. It creates what we are calling the JAM method, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When these things are happening with joy,
Mm-hmm.
and you realize that with the joy comes the abundance mentality.
Mm-hmm.
There can be, for me, used to be a whole lot of scarcity around it. Not enough leverage, not enough time, not enough people to help make all these things happen. And what you realize, or what I've realized, is that over time that I'm in control. There's plenty of resources out there, and there's just an abundance. And then with that comes the maturity.
Yeah, for sure.
So
that was beautiful. Nice bow.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Anything else that's coming up for you around sustainability?
No, I mean, we definitely talked about a lot, for sure.
And I feel like we could keep talking about this too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm thinking about all the different versions of in all different areas in our lives that we've been through and created. And I just feel like we could probably do another episode or two on sustainability.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
And I would love to hear some feedback, like what do you want? What else do you want to know about sustainability?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That we can share and create an episode out of, or just answer directly with you. We're happy to, as we said in the beginning of the show, answer emails or direct messages on IG.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Love it. Awesome. Well, I feel great. I mean, we can wrap it up or keep rolling, or
I'm feeling complete right now. I feel like we shared a lot of information, and I think this is I really feel like this is something that can be revisited as well. Because this is a different language when you talk about sustainability and accountability and measuring your results. It's not something that everybody does. It's definitely a pull up your panties, put on your big boy pants kind of conversation, and and level up to it.
Yes.
And by doing these things, you will absolutely transform your life to whatever it is, the version that you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. So. And it's directly proportional to transforming your business too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I love it.
Oh, I add one more little tidbit on the sustainability, just because I can.
Okay.
And that is, if you are as you're leveling up and learning all these things, turn around and teach it to somebody else. Take that time and teach it to somebody else, because the more that you teach it, the more that you download, the more that you know, the more that you learn, the more it's ingrained into your mind and your heart and your spirit, your soul. So always, I say that to our coaching clients all the time. If they're helping to bring somebody on or somebody new, and they're doing some script practice or whatever with them, then take them on for 15 or 20 minutes and hold them accountable and teach them what you know. Because at the end of the day, what we end up realizing is that we know a hell of a lot more than we ever thought that we did, until you actually have that conversation with somebody who doesn't know as much as you do. And it's beautiful.
And you're in service, and you're coming from contribution, and just paying it forward. It really is. It's beautiful.
All that.
I love that.
All right.
Awesome. Well,
that's today's episode of Sex, Money, and Real Estate. Thank you so much for listening.
But of course.
Make sure you join us again next week. It's where we provide the energy, stories, and clarity that specialize in turning the breakdowns into breakthroughs effectively.
Yes, definitely. Effectively, for sure. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I
You want to
love
give those links one more time where they can connect with us?
The links, yeah, sure. Instagram, you can is sex.money.realestate. Our email is connect@jamesonandcompany.com. Our website is jamesonandcompany.com. And to get to the balance chart and find some more accountability, you can go to www.ydbg, which stands for Your Day Balance Game, theydbg.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I love you.
I love you too.
I'll talk to you soon.
Immediately.
Bye.
Wow, what a show. Thank you so much for listening. And if you're inspired, we ask that you share the podcast with one person and subscribe and follow the show. I'm Bill Jameson.
And I'm Nancy Jameson.
And remember, it's
a great life. Quick note about the Sex, Money, and Real Estate podcast. We are not doctors or licensed therapists. We are a joyous, abundant, and mature couple passionately sharing our story of growth around sex, money, and real estate. Our thoughts, opinions, and beliefs are our own, so please consult your doctor, healthcare provider, or your broker regarding any questions or issues you have related to your physical or mental health or specific state laws regarding your real estate business.